In 1995, Val Kilmer was dominating Hollywood with a string of memorable roles in Top Gun, The Doors, and Tombstone. He quickly established himself as one of the most promising young actors when he collaborated with Robert De Niro and Al Pacino in Heat. That same year, he donned the Batman cape in Batman Forever. However, just a decade later, Kilmer's career was dominated by direct-to-DVD releases, becoming one of Hollywood's fastest declines at the time. In 2021, the documentary Val was released, revealing many insights into his life, his passion for acting, and his battle with throat cancer that caused him to lose his voice. However, the film only briefly touched upon a controversial period in Kilmer's career, when he was labeled a difficult star to work with. So, we'll delve deeper into this period, including why he didn't return as Batman, the troubles in major projects, and the moment Hollywood turned its back on him. Born in Los Angeles in 1959, Kilmer grew up with two brothers. From a young age, he was passionate about acting and often worked with his younger brother Wesley on remakes of popular films, with Wesley directing. This passion continued throughout his later years, helping him secure a place in the drama department of the Juilliard School, becoming one of the youngest students ever admitted. However, a major tragedy occurred in 1977 when Wesley, then only 15 years old, died from an epileptic seizure that led to drowning in a jacuzzi. This event deeply affected Kilmer, especially since Wesley was his partner in his passion for acting. During his time at Juilliard, Kilmer co-founded a playwriting program and appeared in numerous plays. In 1983, he made his acting debut in Slab Boys, starring alongside Kevin Bacon and Sean Penn. A year later, he landed his first major film role in Top Secret, a spy comedy where he performed all the songs himself and even released an album under his character's name. The following year, he starred in the comedy Real Genius. By 1986, Top Gun had put Kilmer on the Hollywood map as Iceman, Tom Cruise's on-screen rival. Interestingly, Kilmer initially disliked the script and wasn't interested in a war film, but he was bound by his contract. In real life, he and Cruise also had a subtle rivalry, each with their own team, but Kilmer saw it as a way to better develop his character. The film was a huge box office success. In 1988, Kilmer went on to star in Willow, where he met his future wife, Joanne Whalley, who would later play a crucial role in the turning points of his career. Despite the huge success of Top Gun, Kilmer continued his relentless pursuit of his next breakthrough role. He filmed his own audition tapes for films like Full Metal Jacket and Goodfellas, but without success. He even personally brought the tapes to audition venues to impress. The real turning point came in 1991 when he portrayed singer Jim Morrison in The Doors, a role that solidified Val Kilmer's exceptional acting abilities. To prepare, Kilmer practically transformed into Morrison for almost a year before filming. He dressed exactly like him, frequently visited places Morrison had been to, and completely immersed himself in everything related to the legend. He spent 6 months practicing the songs every day. After the film ended, Kilmer even had to seek help from a psychologist to detach himself from the character. As a result, he performed all the singing parts himself, and his demeanor was remarkably similar to Morrison's. Despite the film receiving mixed reviews, Kilmer's performance was praised, proving he was more than just a handsome face. He went on to participate in many projects, including one of his most beloved roles, Doc Holliday in Tombstone. At this point, there was almost no negative information about Kilmer's work ethic. The producers of Tombstone even commented on his professionalism and willingness to collaborate again. However, rumors about his difficult personality began to surface. The original director of Tombstone once told a strange story implying that Kilmer had a dark side that he didn't want to reveal. During a character discussion, when a stunt double brought in a colorful insect, Kilmer picked it up and ate it, saying he was only annoyed by stupid people. These behaviors escalated in subsequent projects, not only drawing attention but also gradually damaging his reputation in Hollywood. Many believe it wasn't Kilmer who changed, but rather that people started paying more attention to his behavior. Before starring in Batman Forever, there were warning signs. Kilmer explained his rivalry with Tom Cruise on the set of Top Gun as getting into character, but it could also have been just a way for him to maintain his image. During the production of The Doors, a memo outlining the do's and don'ts of working with Kilmer surfaced, including not approaching him unnecessarily. Oliver Stone later investigated, and Kilmer explained that it was only for his own team, not the entire film crew. Stone also noted that Kilmer was incredibly passionate about his work. If approached incorrectly, you'd see a different side of him. By 1994, Kilmer was earning up to $6 million per film. This success seemed to inflate his ego, leading to star behavior. The role of Batman in Batman Forever was his dream. He accepted without reading the script or researching director Joel Schumacher. Despite numerous warnings to don't hire Val, Schumacher decided to take the risk and quickly faced one of the most challenging production processes. At the time, Kilmer was embroiled in a tense divorce from his wife, Joanne Whalley, whom he had married in 1988. They had 2 children and were embroiled in custody and property disputes before officially divorcing in 1996. These preceding years had a profound impact on Kilmer, and many believe this contributed to his worsening behavior. On the set of Batman Forever, Kilmer and Schumacher frequently clashed. At times, they even had minor physical altercations. Kilmer was accused of erratic behavior, losing his temper with the assistant director, cinematographer, and even the costume department. Schumacher described him as rude, unprofessional, and difficult to work with. Following a heated argument, Val Kilmer and director Joel Schumacher didn't speak to each other for 2 weeks, which, according to Schumacher, were 2 peaceful weeks. Adding to the conflicts with Tommy Lee Jones and Jim Carrey, Schumacher nearly gave up. After filming ended, he frankly stated he was tired of defending overpaid and privileged actors, referring to Kilmer and Jones, and hoped he would never have to work with them again. Batman Forever received mixed reviews upon its release, but still performed well at the box office. Kilmer's performance also divided public opinion, and unsurprisingly, he didn't return for the sequel. Schumacher later summed up the situation with, "He either left on his own, or we fired him, whichever side you hear." In 1996, Kilmer joined The Island of Dr. Moreau, one of the most chaotic productions in Hollywood history. He worked alongside Marlon Brando in an environment many described as a competition to see who could waste more time. Kilmer was chosen to replace Bruce Willis, but caused trouble from the start by demanding a 40% reduction in his filming days. Director Richard Stanley was unhappy, but had to give in because the studio considered Kilmer a money-making star, while Stanley could be replaced at any time. As a result, Kilmer was given a smaller role, Montgomery. During filming, he often didn't take his lines seriously, made demands about costumes, and even arrived late to set on Monday at 3 p.m. Kilmer's representative reassured them that every Val film has its first 2 days like that. Many on the crew believed Kilmer had a bullying and hostile nature, constantly criticizing the director's ideas. Richard Stanley later commented that every time Kilmer appeared, a conflict arose. The situation worsened with an incident where Kilmer allegedly lit a cigarette in a cameraman's face. Some said it was just a joke, but others insisted it was intentional. When Marlon Brando arrived, things spiraled out of control. Under pressure from the studio, Stanley was eventually fired and replaced by John Frankenheimer. The producers later admitted their mistake in not providing Kilmer with a director strong enough to control the situation. After the film's release, Frankenheimer declared, "There are 2 things I will never do in my life: climb Mount Everest and work with Val Kilmer again. No amount of money would make me change my mind." Unsurprisingly, The Island of Dr. Moreau was a major flop, earning Kilmer his first Golden Raspberry Award nomination. His behavior on set also began to be widely publicized. Some even argue that he was more of a star than Marlon Brando in this very film. At Brando's wrap-up party, an extra in animal costume unexpectedly removed his mask, and it was Richard Stanley, the original director who had been secretly overseeing the production for a long time. Some believed Stanley's erratic behavior was the reason for his dismissal, and this moment further reinforced that belief. However, Kilmer surprised everyone by hugging Stanley and apologizing for what had happened earlier. That same year, Kilmer starred in The Ghost and the Darkness, alongside Michael Douglas, but still displayed what was considered a selfish attitude. Screenwriter William Goldman recounted that Douglas had frankly warned Kilmer that he could follow in the footsteps of Eric Roberts or Mickey Rourke if he didn't change. The film received average reviews and had unimpressive box office revenue. The following year, he starred in The Saint, continuing with his erratic behavior. Although the film performed well at the box office, it was poorly received by critics, and Kilmer earned another Razzie nomination. He also voiced the Prince of Egypt before returning to another major flop in 1999 with At First Sight. Kilmer's ability to attract audiences began to wane, and when an actor no longer generates revenue, Hollywood's patience runs out. By 2000, Kilmer joined Red Planet, an $80 million project, and surprisingly still landed the lead role despite his reputation as a difficult actor to work with. However, the troubles continued. He clashed with his co-star Tom Sizemore, who had previously starred with him in Heat. It all started when the film crew paid to transport Sizemore's exercise equipment to the set in Australia. Tensions escalated when Kilmer allegedly boasted about his salary and belittled his co-star. According to accounts, the argument nearly turned into a fight, and the producers had to intervene to stop it. The co-director of the documentary, Val, later revealed that there were up to 200 hours of behind-the-scenes footage of Red Planet, but it wasn't included in the documentary, to avoid further highlighting the controversies. Ultimately, Red Planet was critically panned and a box office failure. However, the two actors are said to have later reconciled. This film also marked the end of Val Kilmer's era as a leading star in major Hollywood blockbusters. Following that period, Val Kilmer participated in a series of unsuccessful projects interspersed with action films released directly to DVD, such as Hard Cash. By 2004, controversies surrounding his work ethic became the focus of Spartan when he clashed with the director and even publicly criticized him in the DVD review. That same year, he starred in the major project Alexander, but the film was a major flop and earned him another Golden Raspberry Award nomination. He got another chance with comedy in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Despite receiving very positive reviews from critics, the film was not a commercial success, causing Kilmer to almost entirely shift to direct release projects. However, it's not entirely accurate to say he only acted in DVD films, as he still appeared in some minor roles in larger projects afterward. In 2010, he developed and performed a one-person play titled Citizen Twain, portraying Mark Twain. The play received positive reviews and subsequently toured. During a 2015 tour, Kilmer unexpectedly lost his voice and began coughing up blood. After hospitalization, he was diagnosed with nasopharyngeal cancer. He kept his health condition private until 2017, when he revealed that after a 2-year battle, he had overcome the disease. However, he had to undergo a tracheostomy, making speaking very difficult. The documentary Val clearly depicted these difficulties. Audiences also saw him appear in Top Gun: Maverick, where his voice was digitally altered for clarity. Despite the regrettable end to his career, the question remains whether Kilmer truly deserved Hollywood's rejection. While there are many stories about his star behavior, there are also many who have worked with him who have praised him. Many have reported positive experiences working with Kilmer on Heat. Director Irwin Winkler of At First Sight, initially skeptical, later praised his collaboration. His co-star Mira Sorvino also described Kilmer as professional and courteous. Producer Jeffrey Katzenberg of The Prince of Egypt called him patient, understanding, and very generous with his time. Meanwhile, Robert Downey Jr. also expressed admiration for Kilmer when they worked together on Kiss, Kiss, Bang, Bang. From 1993 to 2005, working with Kilmer was like flipping a coin. When things went well, he was fantastic, but when things went badly, things became uncontrollable. Part of this is believed to depend on the director's ability to control the situation. In 2004, Kilmer defended himself, saying that if he was demanding, it was for the benefit of the film. His intense passion for acting sometimes unintentionally caused conflict, and as fame and pay rose, his ego may have also reached its limit. Combined with a tense divorce during his most difficult years, the collapse of his career seems like a series of unfortunate events. Watching Val, many realize Kilmer is actually a genuine, even humorous person. Under the guidance of the right directors, he could have gone much further. Nevertheless, what he achieved is a remarkable career that cannot be underestimated. That's the story of the period when Hollywood turned its back on Val Kilmer. What do you think of his career? Does he deserve the criticism?